Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. We know that on a national level that there's protests and demonstrations occurring across the country in anticipation of November 3rd. Here in Los Angeles, we're working with all of our local partners as well as with our state and federal partners to understand what might happen in this city. The polls opened last Saturday. We've had zero activities at any of those locations. I know that we have senior leads and other members that are monitoring those locations, reached out to the poll setters and ensuring that people understand the rules. And so far it's been quiet, but it may change. It could change very suddenly. There's a lot of unpredictability, there's a lot of tension. So in the coming days, what we're doing is we're preparing for the worst, and we're hopeful that we will not have to experience the type of full level deployment, mobilization, curfew, National Guard, civil unrest, the attacks on officers, the arson, the damage that we saw in the unrest after the death of George Floyd. But it could get that bad, and it could get bad, and it could get bad for a while. I'm proud of the leadership team, the efforts that they've made in standing up the DOC and added preparations to logistics and planning to have staffing in all 4 geographic areas. I'm thankful for this last Monday. The entire organization is now in uniform and it'll stay that way until further notice. Next week we'll have our detectives working 2 shifts, both an A and B watch, with the second shift coming in at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1400. That'll give us added deployment into the evening hours. So should we see protests, should we see demonstrations, we'll be able to facilitate them. But should they turn violent, should they become hostile, and should they throw rocks or bottles or engage in arson or looting or other activities, we'll have additional personnel. But we'll also be quick in moving up to even additional personnel, whether it be cancellation of days off, mobilization, added resources and levers that we did this last time, should we need to establish greater levels of control and restore order and hold those accountable. I have confidence in all of our people. The added training and work that's been done by our training division, by our Metropolitan Division, in refreshing the mobile field force tactics and updating us as to protective measures with the use of personal protective eyewear, the recent introduction of shields. Now we've been carrying ballistic shields now for a couple years for field officers to carry, but now we've acquired about 1,000 of these plastic shields that are used for crowd control measures. The notice is coming out to talk about them. Let me assure that the instructions from the very top through all of our commanding officers to our supervisors is that these shields are a defensive mechanism. They're a means of giving officers some added protection, because what we've seen is with projectiles is officers at times are standing on a line and they have little else protection other than just some minor ballistic attire that they're wearing. So these shields are meant to deflect that at a fixed post or a static location such as headquarters or City Hall, and we're holding a line behind bike rail or otherwise, and someone begins using projectiles or rocks or starts assaulting us in that fashion, that we can give officers an added layer of protection while we now start taking on that threat. We're not going to become targets with these shields just standing there static while people choose to throw rocks and bottles at us. My expectation is that while we are afforded added protection during that initial assault, that we'll be moving with blocking forces and with arrest and tangle teams to go out and identify those that are responsible for those assaults and arresting them and holding them accountable. And if we can't do that because of the size or nature of the crowd, then to declare an unlawful assembly and disperse that group. To each of us, this has been a very long year, and we're not done. There's a lot of challenges, this pandemic, this defund, the police, the budget cuts. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of criticism, unfair in many instances, regarding our actions or actions of our profession. And I just ask everybody to keep the faith, work together as a team, pull together. We have our differences. I know there's differences with me with regards to my performance. And my commitment to each member of this organization is all of us do better when we pull together. We pull together for the common mission. We go out there and work as a team, and we'll get through this. And there'll be brighter days ahead. There is no finer law enforcement agency in America, if not the world, that can take on these tasks. And I have confidence that we will. And God bless you.